Do we have volume now? All right, there we go. We have some volume now. Okay, sorry about that. I think we should be all set. All right, there we go. So when we take a look at what's going on this morning, gang, when we take a look at what we have this morning, 8:30 a.m. PPI. I'm not worried about getting in the weeds. I'm not going to get lost in the weeds of what the number actually was, right? That doesn't mean anything in terms of our trade. We know there's a hot zone, high impact, high volatility, high volume, macroeconomic release. It should fall into one of three pillars: jobs, inflation, or growth. This would fall into the inflation. And then we go ahead and just basically wait for price action to move into zones that we would be expecting price to move into, usually further out, use some historical volatility, and then we can decide whether or not there's an opportunity there or not. Just to give you an idea, I'm going to use the S&P here. These are the price movement ranges. And bot, I don't think these moved a bunch on the hot zone. I think they still pretty much look like they did on the hot zone. So I'll show you how this works. Let me grab my drawing tool here. And this is something we did yesterday pre-market in the mastery room. And I'll tell you what, gang, yesterday was a tricky day. Yesterday was a really tricky day after the bell, but before the bell, it was great. And it's a very similar setup to this. CPI comes out 8:30, move right into right here. You can see this candle wick, and this candle wick moved right into the support of the hourly price movement range, retraced up to the, as we like to call it, the 50% pingala, and that's pretty much the trade. And yesterday we had the same setup, only to the downside. We had a short setup on the S&P with CPI, and it hit that first level, and it actually kept going. But my traders in the mastery, do you see why we pay ourselves while we can, not when we have to? Because then we made a lower low. Yesterday, it just kept going, and it's the mindset of, oh my gosh, if I wouldn't have paid myself so quick, or if I wouldn't have gone to break even, I could have gotten 5, 6, 7, 8 more points. But do you see how it can also work the other way around too? So always pay yourself while you can, not when you have to on these kinds of hot zones. And that's a great pre-market type of day trade, and it's a great understanding of, from a macroeconomic standpoint, what are we dealing with? Well, didn't like that. Ultimately, when you step back and look at price, which is the ultimate measurement from a macroeconomic standpoint, didn't like it all that much. And by the way, for those of you wondering, Rag, is this the beginning of something bigger? Well, remember, we have yet to escape the historical volatility ranges. So even though we're putting in generally lower lows and lower highs on the daily time frame, this is actually a great environment to be a day trader. And even though yesterday was difficult because we had this kind of U-turn kind of day, we started off strong, hit about 10 o'clock, and just went right back to where we opened. Those days are difficult because we're not seeing follow through, we're not seeing retracements, right? But aside from that, this is a great environment to be day trading. And when you look at the daily time frame and it just looks ugly, don't worry about it. Shorten the time frame, shorten the time horizon, and get back to work. So that's just a quick breakdown of what I've got on my mind to, through August, how we're navigating. And remember, gang, we're going to have tough days. We're going to have good days. But when you step back, and today's Friday, so I'm going to get ready to grade myself on the week. Swings were pretty sparse, but day trading was super active. We won 4 out of 5 days. Yeah, well, I should say we won 3 out of 4 so far. We'll see how we do today. But at the end of the day, it's going to be impossible for me to be down on the week based on what we did Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Thursday was tough. We'll see what happens today. So if you're a day trader, do not grade yourself every single day. Do it on a Friday afternoon. Do it on a Saturday morning or a Sunday evening and say, hey, how do the week's trades work out for me? Is there or is there not more capital in my account at the end of the week than at the beginning of the week, right? And that's a really good way to keep steady and not panic or be too tough on yourself. All right, so let's get to some questions. As always, sorry about the sound. That was me, gang. That was me. So the sound should be great here. Okay, so let's get to it. Let's see. What's my current take on the Russell? Last week I was bullish. Yeah, I'm still bullish. I'm still bullish. And let's talk about why. You might say, Rog, you're still bullish? Overall, the kind of so what does bullish mean? Does that mean I'm buying? Buying is different than bullish. I know, semantics, right? But if I'm looking for a long position on the daily time frame, I'm generally going to be bullish, right? That's my general preference for a trade. But it doesn't mean we won't short the Russell or even the regional banks. It doesn't mean that we may not have 1 hour time frame swings. But if someone asks me, Rog, what's your opinion of the overall market? I'm still bullish, right? That means I would prefer to generally be long, not short. And that has a lot to do with the fact that the Russell is on the daily, has been in an uptrend. It's above the 200. It's nearly oversold, but it doesn't mean I have a long position. It just means I prefer to be in a long position. But when we're day trading, the IWM ETF or even the Russell futures, I don't mind going long or short, right? Because that sentiment is a completely different thing. And that sentiment could change throughout the day. So the time frame does dictate the sentiment and trend. So I will usually default to the daily. So when someone says, hey, what's your take on something? It's usually going to be based on the multi-trend of the daily time frame. I still am. It doesn't mean, though, that I've got a long position. I hope that helps. Thank you for the question. Absolutely. Okay, next question. iPod Touch asks, do I trade the Globex session? And if not, why not? Yeah, it depends on. So when you say Globex, no, I don't typically trade Asia. So at some point, we got to stop trading. More is not better. That would be very much futures or Forex oriented. So as far as which asset classes would we even focus on for that type of trading, it'd be Forex or futures, and not everybody wants to trade those. But I like pre-market US. So yeah, it depends on the hot zones that we have, but I don't mind pre-market. Yeah, I do not mind pre-market US at all. We did it yesterday. I could have done it today, but I didn't. I was actually on Benzinga this morning at 8:15. Love those guys. So not every hot zone is one that I want to necessarily trade, but I don't mind to trade pre-market US. And for me, pre-market US is say 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern. Those time-specific windows on day trading, understanding what to do and when they are so important. And stick around, gang. We're going to talk a lot more. See, when we look right now at the macroeconomic picture, it's still very fuzzy. It's still very, very much, are they or aren't they? And that's going to hurt follow through. And when we can't get our longer term, say daily time frame follow through, we have to tactically sort of shift to 1 hour or even 5-minute charts so we can get our fills and our follow through in a shortened amount of time. So I'm not saying hyperactive. All I'm saying is let's expect less follow through. Let's adapt, right? As they say, adapt or die. And in trading, adapt or kill your account. Let's adapt. And one of the best adaptations is to look for shorter swings on a 1 hour and most definitely day trading. So we'll keep talking about that throughout the month because I think this is not just going to be an August phenomena. This is probably going to take us well into fall. All right. Good morning. Hey there, Gregory. XHB on the daily. Sure. Let's take a look at that. Home builders, construction. I alluded to these on Benzinga this morning. They are in beautiful uptrends. And think about it from a standpoint of the Fed still hiking rates and mortgage rates are so high, XHB and ITB should be down. They're not, are they? So what we want to remember is the trend reflects what the broadest group of market participants think. And as of March and April of this year, they thought enough to rally the XHB above the 200 period exponential moving average. I use a 200 propulsion, which is a combination of a fast 8 EMA and the slower 200. And ultimately, once we did that, it's tough to be bearish. So this is kind of going back to bullish versus bearish. I would be absolutely bullish in this, preferring to be long, right? Doesn't mean that I've got a long position. That's the kind of entry that I want. And let me mention one other thing, Gregory. XHB is great, but ITB is the high concentration weighted version of home builders, home construction. All right. So next up, oh, by the way, someone asked what platform. I will toggle between MB, Thinkorswim charts and TradingView charts. Those are my primary platforms. If you're on TOS, great, you're using TOS charts. But if you want something more broker agnostic, I would recommend the TradingView charts, and we use both quite actively in the Sector Secrets room. I've been using TradingView charts for about a decade now, so a big fan of those. All right. Amazon, sure. Let's take a look at what we've got going on Amazon. Overall uptrend. So again, I would prefer to be bullish. I am bullish. Look at the multi-trend at the bottom of the screen there. Definitely something where if we can buy in that gray zone, I would do it. And I would do it on the daily more so. Let's see. Or do we have an hourly potential setup for a swing? No, we do. Oversold, neutral, but gosh, we got to get down to about 136 before we can even do that. Stanley? Yeah. All right. Ryan asks about INMD. Viable pullback or topping out? So this is going to be more about, let's see, INMD was in an uptrend, has gone neutral. Neutral trade changes the strategy. So structure dictates strategy. Doesn't matter if it's a 5-minute day trade or a daily time frame swing. What I would wait for now is a minor low, potentially. If we can get down to the 200, I know that seems so far away though, Ryan, I'd be game there. An oversold stochastic, you can see the red-green line cutting across my multi-trend indicator. If that thing can get oversold, that coupled with a minor low would be something that we would look at in the mastery. That's the kind of setup that we like to see. All right. Let's see. Sadiq asks, good morning. Yesterday I made a great point about the AT ladder. The AT ladder. The bid, ask, last, that kind of thing. Can you show an example of a limit order? Sadiq, yeah, we'll do that again. Well, I mean, I don't have a limit order to place right now. Oh, active trader. Is that what that means? Active trader. Okay. Yeah, we'll do that in the mastery. So basically, I think the layout of your ladder is important. I don't put Greeks on my ladders. In fact, when I'm day trading, swing trading, all of it, no Greeks, right? No bad pattern day trading issues, no Greeks. All of this is the way that I'm able to trade. And then the last part of it is the structure, right? The structure of how we put together our option chain or ladder. Bid, ask, last, volume, open interest. That's it. I mean it. No Greeks. I don't have any idea what my delta is. I know anecdotally where it tends to be. Doesn't matter. We use timing. We use an understanding of order flow. And so, yeah, today I'll see if I can't do that when we put it in there. But once you get into your option chain, Sadiq, just what I do on TOS is I right click the call side if I want to buy a call, or the put side if I want to buy a put. I go to buy single because I'm always buying options. I'm not selling them. I'm not a fan of multi-leg and collecting credit. And so buy single, and then the order ticket that comes up, you will see has LMT. Yeah, that's basically put in your price, which is in the alerts that I send out to the members. And that's really it. That's really it. All right. Next up, Alex says, I never beat myself up for taking profits too soon. Kudos, my friend, because a lot of folks do. Yeah, a lot of folks do. If it was my last ever trading day, sure. We're here every day. Yeah, I love that. We're here every day. Limitless opportunities to make profit. Yeah, I love it. You know, like I like to mention in the mastery, and anytime I'm day trading, what's a day trader's best friend? The very next trading session, because we get to do it all over again. Absolutely. All right. How are we doing on time? Oh, we're doing pretty good. All right, let's keep going. Let's keep going. SMCI. All right, Randy, SMCI. I'd wait for an inside day or minor low. It looks like we're forming an inside day potentially. Where are we pre-market? So that's Thursday's candle there. Let's see where we are this morning and whether or not we're looking at a minor low. 271. Yeah, I would say if you can get inside day or minor low here, I would not be able to enter. And it's to the long side. Randy, I'd be looking only long. I don't know anything about this stock. I'm not trading it. But from a pure perspective of the multi-trend market structure, focusing on the lower row of this indicator, the lower row of green, and then We're above key level, so I'm certainly bullish. And then now the question is, how can I buy? I would look for an inside candle or a minor low, which means the soonest that I could actually get in would likely be on Monday. So I would probably focus on alongside if those patterns complete on Monday. All right. Next question is, do I use ticks? Oh, yeah. So, gang, everyone has indicators they like. I don't use market internals. It's not a matter of outdated or, good or bad. It's just whether or not I use market internals. I do not. I do not use market internals. But, if it's something you want to do, yeah, for sure. I think that a lot of traders in and outside of Simpler use a lot of John's approach to market internals. However, I don't. I use high concentration weighting, right? So it's just a different, some people like their tea sweetened, some people like it unsweetened. It's still tea, right? So I look at it that way. I don't use market internals at all. What are my thoughts on Meta? I want to be a buyer. I'll tell you what, Myron, let's think index sector stock. NASDAQ is not in a downtrend, right? It's pulling back and it's gone a little neutral. So if I want to get long tech, I don't want to get long here. I've got red grab candles. I've got a neutral market structure. Is there an opportunity to get long? Yeah, there might be, but what's going to favor follow through? Trends favor follow through to the up or down side. Why do we like uptrends? Why was 2020 so awesome? Because it was an uptrend. But pullbacks were supported, higher highs kept going, then pullbacks were supported, and higher highs kept going. Rinse, 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 and repeat, right? If you know what to look for, we're always asking ourselves, what are the pockets of sort of 2020, if you will, right? What are those pockets of the market that look like 2020? It might be on a daily time frame. It might be in a 5-minute time frame. So as long as we know the characteristics to look for on the time frame, we can find glimpses of what we loved so much about 2020. And Meta and XLC are the relative outperformers in the NASDAQ. So I love it. I'd like to be long Meta. I know it might have to work a little bit harder because it is better if index sector stock are all in alignment. That's another thing that made 2020 so great. But if we can find that alignment, and that alignment exists in a number of sectors, it's just not tech where everyone seems to be very predisposed to just focus on, right? Our choice for watch list. What is a watch list? It's a trade list. It's what we're focusing on. It's a focus list. And if we have the same names on the focus list, we're not going to get the results that we could get versus building out on a relatively frequent basis what's the best example of a trend. So those are things that I keep in mind every single morning. We do that trend watch list, focus list building every morning as day traders. We do it every day as 1-hour swing traders. And for sure, Meta would meet that criteria, right? For sure. But just remember, NASDAQ probably ideally would have to find some kind of support. It doesn't have to rally, but as long as it can find some sort of support, Meta's not having to work overtime to overcome the weakness. So be careful. I think there are better places to look in this environment than trying to find relative outperformers in tech, especially with tech struggling the way that it is right now. All right, gang, that's a wrap. Thank you as always for being a part of Charts and Coffee. I'll see you Sunday evening for the top tier outlook. We'll take a broader picture view of what's to come. Gang, stick with some shorter time frames. August is a month that favors it. The macroeconomic environment is still murky. Focus on those short-term time frames. Scalable trades that allow you to look at relative outperforming stocks, sectors, and indices, and then not need as much follow through. Okay, gang, I'll see you on Sunday. Be good to each other.